What's up guys, Chris Deglansky here, back with another video. And today we're gonna be looking at the new Tarmac SL7. This is a brand new bike that Specialized has just redesigned. They no longer are making the S-Works Venge. They completely discontinued the Venge line and they redid it with this brand new SL7, which they're claiming, quote unquote, one bike to rule them all. Let's take a closer look at this bike. This is the S-Works Sram Red E-Tap version. This model comes with the new 12-speed Sram Red E-Tap with the built-in power meter into the crank arms, which is really neat. I think it's kind of like a cool concept, and it has a really nice design to it. Up front is a 48-35 with this new flat chain that SRAM has come out with. And I think it looks really cool. Being that it is a 12-speed, this bike, you literally could take it anywhere with this gear setup. So for people who are in flat states like mine, or climbing in the hills of California, New York, upstate, Maine, New Hampshire, so be it. This bike is literally the bike that they're claiming. You could take it anywhere. It has the brand new Roval Rapide Wheelset, which is a 51 centimeter in the front and a 60 millimeter in the back. So Specialized, before, they had on their Roval series of sets of wheels, they had a Roval CLX 32, they had a CLX 50 and a CLX 64. So it looks here, they're kind of going for like a staggered wheel set, kind of like Envy. And on that, my orange Venge back there, I have an Envy wheel set, which is kind of staggered. So I think it was kind of cool, looks really aggressive. And when they redesigned this wheels in their wind tunnel, they actually came out and did like a staggered look. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but a straight shot down on that wheel, you can kind of see where the tire bulges farther. I mean, the rim, excuse me, comes out farther than the actual tire, which is really interesting. They're claiming the aerodynamics, when the wind hits the front of the bike, it's gonna break more wind, and coming through the backside of the bike, the 60 millimeter is flush, where the tire sticks out farther than the rim. The rim is really clean and flush. So that's their new aero design system on the wheels. On the frame set, they kind of kept that same S-Works Aerofly handlebar, which has been seen on the previous Venge models, and they revamped the Venge integrated stem, and this one's like a little sleeker, thinner. Still has the same integration where the cables, your brake cables and your Di2 or your SRAM Red cable would kind of dip through this. Being that it's actually SRAM Red, it's wireless, so those are just your hydraulic front and rear brake cables. Another thing I wanted to point out on this bike, they did again do like that lower seat stay, which is kind of really cool. I know before on the SL3, 4, 5, 6, or actually up until the 5, the seat stay would actually meet the top tube right here, and on the SL6 they kind of dropped it, and on the newer Venge frames that was discontinued this year, 2020, they also had that on there. This frame set is really neat. If you really take a look at this frame, focusing in on it, it is just beautiful. It's like an emerald green with this holographic S-Works lettering on there, which I think is super beautiful. Fades into a black across the backside of the bike, and the SRAM Red group just complements the frame. So perfect. Another thing I know some people are asking about, and even me, like I love having a 1x chainring setup, especially because I live down here in South Florida. You can actually change this out to a 1x, and you can make it a 1x12, removing the front derailleur. And then SRAM, they actually make a 1x power meter crank set that you can throw on there, which looks really good. I probably would opt for it if I was getting my hands on one of these bikes. So this is gonna be the 2021 model. Very beautiful, very sleek. They kept the S-Works power saddle, which is my absolute favorite saddle. I've been riding since 2015, and I believe they dropped this saddle around that time for their new Venge frames, and I love it. I've been seeing them put this saddle on Epics, their cross-country mountain bike. I've seen them put it on their Venge bike. Now the Tarmac has it. Such a great saddle. If you're a guy who is worried about prostate pressure, this thing has such a big cutout, so even if you're sitting on the nose of the saddle, it's just so forgiving, no pain whatsoever. I love that. Another thing I want to point out, which I pointed out earlier on the Venge frame, is that integrated computer mount, which is really, really cool. I like that a lot. Just clean away, and then also on the bottom, if you have a light, a Garmin light or another light when you're riding at night, that looks really, really clean. This is the Tarmac, so it's going to be the 12R carbon fiber, which is really, really light. I had a chance to ride this. I had posted a video a few weeks ago, me actually just riding this from a group ride with a couple buddies, and comparing this to the Venge still feels a little more planted to me. This bike, being Tarmacs are supposed to be a more nimble bike, a climbing bike. I still feel like the Venge has my vote. I feel like I'm a little biased because I've always chosen a Venge over a Tarmac. I've had an SL5 Peter Sagan S-Works edition, which I loved, and they are snappy, they are nimble bikes, but for some reason the Venge to me just feels way more planted. It feels stiffer when I stand up to sprint on it. And this bike, it is fast, it is nimble, it is quick from 0 to 60. The Venge to me just feels like when you're pulling in a group ride doing 26 miles an hour plus, I feel like the Venge keeps calling for more. Not that this bike doesn't, but I feel like I have to work slightly harder to kind of maintain the 28 mile an hour up to 30 mile an hour group rides and then jump into a sprint. So that's all I really have to say about that.